this video, we're going to talk about how to make the most out of our font manipulation properties in the Dyslexic Browser. So to turn the font off so anybody else could read it who's not dyslexic, you just hit the F key and it turns it back to the original text. And to turn it back on, you just hit F again and it automatically goes to your default. Now, to get into the fun stuff, the extension looks into your system and grabs every single installed font. So if you have a dyslexic font that you like better than Open Dyslexic, like Dyslexic for example, which I have installed on my computer, it will be able to access that and change the font to that. And there's a whole lot more fonts than just the ones that you install for dyslexia. I know a lot of people like Comic Sans for dyslexia. You can access Comic Sans right down here, and it'll change everything into Comic Sans. Or if you like, let's say, ink free, I don't know what that is, but it looks cool. I can't really read it, but you know, some people might. Or Arial, it's very pretty. Any font that you have installed, it'll be able to change it to. Now let's go back into something familiar, Open Dyslexic, and let's play with some of the other features. For the scale feature, this scales it up by a factor of 16. So if we have a scale of 1, for example, it'll be 16-point font. Now if we have a scale of 2, it'll scale it up to a size 32 font. So if we toggle that on, we'll see that it becomes 32 size font. If you want it smaller than the normal text, which I don't know, some people might like, you could always do a decimal and it will make it smaller for you. So if we click off this, look at that, teeny tiny. So the color attribute changes the color of the text. So if we change this to, let's do a green. As you can tell, I like green. Get a nice dark forest green. And when we put that on, it changes the color of the text. Let's say you want to have everything be black, which is probably fairly common. It'll change all the links and stuff to black. And the next, word spacing. Word spacing changes the width between the words. So if you were to have a 2 times word space, it's going to space out the words. That way each word is very unique. And if you want it closer together for some reason, you could always do a negative and then a decimal. So like -0.6 puts it together pretty close. You don't want to go over a 1 because 1 starts to overlap the words. But oftentimes you're probably just going to want to have a word spacing that's higher than 1. Then I'll just check that off. Don't need that anymore. And we'll go into line spacing. Line spacing changes how far apart the lines are. So if we go into it, turn it on of course, and put something like a 2, and then come up with it, you'll see that the lines are farther apart. And then lastly, we have letter spacing. Now this either stretches in the positive or it combines in the negative. So if we turn it on and we put 2, we see that the letters are all spaced out apart. And then if we want it to be less, we could always go negative. You see that the words start to become more uniform. And as you saw throughout the video, you could just uncheck the checkbox if you don't want that specific manipulation to go on, and it will remember it whenever you reload the font. So let's say that I want red color and then high word spacing. You can select those on. We don't want letter spacing on, so we'll turn that off. Then you go out here, turn it back on, and there you go. Just the way you like it. As of version 2.0, this is all the font manipulations that you could do. And that's it. Happy browsing!